All right. Give us a moment here while we spin up our live feed. Here we go. Ladies and gents, everyone welcome to our Edge Live Q&A. We do this every week. Who's we? I'm Kylan, the developer, front-end developer at Edge Wallet, and I'm joined by RJ, one of our tech support specialists at Edge Wallet. So every Friday we do a live Q&A, and if you have any questions or comments that you want to send our way, we are willing to take them on live and on the air. So we are on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at Edge Wallet, YouTube as well. So if you'd like to interact with us, please feel free to do so. So RJ, I guess it's been a pretty exciting week for us. There's a lot of news, but then there's also a lot of Edge-related updates, I guess you could say. The most prominent one is that we did a pretty quick release recently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Now we have replay protection for BCH, and you can also split your BCH wallets and claim your SV coins. And not only that, a lot of other improvements. You'll notice faster login, so better login performance, and also improved connectivity. So you'll notice for Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and those Bitcoin-related coins, you'll notice better detection times for those coins.
Yeah, no, and this was a pretty big release in my opinion because I know a lot of people have had questions about, how would I say it, about Bitcoin Cash in general, and there's a lot of complicated stuff going on in this specific fork. So there are not a lot of solutions out there for being able to split off your Bitcoin SV, Satoshi's vision, from the, I guess you could say, traditional BCH blockchain, right?
Right. It's not as easy for most other wallets, but we make it easy where similar to the Bitcoin Cash fork last year, you can just go to the wallets list screen, tap the three dots, split Bitcoin Cash, and you'll have your SV wallet with your coins in there. Other wallets, it might be a little bit more difficult. You might have to manually sweep the private key to get access to your SV coins, but with the Edge wallet, we make it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who have been looking at the news, there was some pretty big news recently, specifically about the United States Treasury. United States Treasury was taking a look at some of the cryptocurrency transactions going on, and they actually decided that they are going to more or less start setting up I guess a whitelist, or rather a blacklist of addresses. So I don't know, did you see any of the news on that?
I didn't hear about that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it was the actual, the United States Treasury specifically was making it so that specific addresses that are associated, for example, with Iran, and that's the specific sort of, I guess, how would I say, activity that they are trying to target here. If you're doing business with Iran and the sorts of entities that are considered bad actors by the United States government, then you can get yourself in trouble. So
yeah,
you might be thinking, okay,
pretty scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. So how would I say this? If you're a typical user, it might not mean a bunch, but the way that they are going to be cracking down on cryptocurrency is, of course, by using some of the central choke points, right? So we're trying to decentralize things in cryptocurrency, but unfortunately, we're not completely decentralized or even anywhere near it. So the biggest choking point typically is exchanges, right? Because everyone eventually needs to exchange either into fiat or they need to exchange from cryptocurrency to cryptocurrency. So it looks like the U.S. government is going to be using them again as kind of a central choke point to make sure that any cryptocurrency that's associated with specific transactions or bad actors as, how would I say this, as
blacklisted somehow,
as designated by the United States government, then they can kind of shut those funds down, shut down those accounts. So this is, we've seen several, how would I say it, actions being taken by the U.S. government this year with regards to exchanges along these sorts of lines. So I guess if there's one big takeaway, it's that the exchanges are more and more becoming a central choke point, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, there's not, I think a few weeks ago we reported some of the news that was, I think it was a Radar Relay, and they're a decentralized exchange, but they're still hosted on a website. And if you're hosted on a website, then that is a central choke point. So once again, we are finding that the exchanges are becoming an area where the United States government is able to crack down on cryptocurrency users. So this year has been full of quite a bit of, I'm not going to call it bad news, but how would I say it? tough news with regards to how far we still need to go in order to become more resilient to manipulation and I guess you could say mutability, right?
And speaking of that, if that's kind of scary in the United States, imagine what happened in Iran recently, because amidst their currency crisis, there was a few guys there that were hoarding gold instead, and had they been hoarding Bitcoin, it might have made it more difficult, but in the end, the amount of trouble that they got into, they ended up getting executed for hoarding gold. That's right.
Holding or hoarding?
Hoarding.
And this was in Iran?
Iran.
Or where was this?
In
wow.
Iran, yes.
So I actually did not know that they were anti-gold as well. Man, there's all sorts. It's weird. Currency is one of those things where it's like in India, they were cracking down on cash.
Yeah.
You know, here we're seeing cryptocurrency being cracked down on. In Iran, like you said, people cracking down on gold. And if people if they've read their history, maybe some people remember, I think it's in the 30s, the United States government themselves actually confiscated people's gold.
Right, it made it illegal to hold gold.
Yeah, definitely some strange stuff. So do we have some more edge-related topics here?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base a little bit on the BCH and BSV. So again, if you guys haven't seen, check out edge.app/blog. We have a write-up on how to split your coins step by step with some screenshots on there. And then also, if you haven't already, if you're using another wallet and it doesn't have replay protection, you could send your BCH into the Edge wallet, and it'll send BSV tokens along with it, and then you can split your wallet from there. But if the coin somehow got tainted, it makes it a little bit more difficult, so you might need to specifically get the private key for that address and then sweep it into Edge. So that's only if it's tainted again.
All right,
so that's some of the support stuff we've been getting. So
yeah, I mean, what have you been seeing a lot of questions related to the BCH fork within tech support?
Yeah, a lot of how to split your tokens, and also some tainted coins where it appeared to be already tainted and it's on a different fork. So when they send their BCH out, it's not including the SV. So then when they send it over to Edge and they split the wallet, it's not appearing because it's already been sent to a different address.
Right.
So kind of troubleshooting there. But for the most part, as long as you have access to the private key, you can sweep it into Edge later on.
Right. So another development that actually occurred earlier this weekend, we're going to get a little bit technical here. Luckily, I'm a developer, so I can handle some of the, some of the technical topics with regard to the specific news. So the way that an application is built, or at least using JavaScript that an application is built, is you build your application, but it is reliant upon other pieces of software. So in the software realm, we call that a dependency. Mm-hmm. And the way that things work, if you have a healthy ecosystem like JavaScript, which is probably the busiest ecosystem, probably the most popular language right now, and that is what our Edge wallet is built upon, that is the main part of our stack, then you have a lot of dependencies. So earlier this week, it turned out that one of the dependencies that a lot of cryptocurrency wallets were using was one called Copay. And obviously that's related to cryptocurrency, making payments and stuff like that.
Right.
Now what happens is you have to be really careful, because when you use a dependency, a lot of times you're not looking closely at what's inside of it, and you are kind of trusting the developer who is maintaining or handling that dependency. So for example, our Edge wallet can actually be used as a dependency, and naturally it is controlled, owned, and managed by our organization. And that means certain developers within our organization have the ability to make changes to it, updates, and things like that. Well, it turns out that the person who was in charge of the Copay piece of software, they handed over some of the permissions and authority to someone who it turns out it was a bad actor.
So there's basically social engineering or maybe laziness in their part, but
I mean, you want to create things as trustless as possible, but at some point there still needs to be a measure of trust for a lot of things, and this is one of them. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with a developer who might be across the other side of the world, you might not know too much about them. You can't meet them face to face, and that's just the nature of the world that we live in. And it turns out that they included how would I say this? They included some malicious code that makes it so that they were able to, I believe, to obtain people's private keys, something along those lines. So I believe it has affected some users for other applications. The good news is that for our specific Edge wallet, we were not affected by it. So if you're looking at that vulnerability and you're wondering whether it affects Edge users or not, the answer to that, thank God, is no.
Yeah, we're good.
In general, we're pretty careful with things, but you never know. There's always, like I said, you always need a little bit of a measure of trust. Let's see here. So we have a question from Daniel Patton. So have you been playing around with Stellar Lumens at all within the app? We added that how long ago? Was that maybe about a month or so?
Yeah.
So we have a question. Can the XLM Edge wallet accept XLM assets to the wallet? So at this point, I don't know if we have support. I don't think we have support.
Not yet.
Yeah, we don't have support yet for Stellar Lumens tokens just yet. I'm not sure what the timeline is on that, but do keep in mind that if you have the private keys for an account and it does have, how would I say this, assets or tokens associated with it, then technically those assets are there. It's just a question of whether it's easy to interact with them.
Right, just to see it or spend it.
Right. So with our wallet right now, it is not that easy to interact with them. But if you send assets to that Stellar Lumens wallet, it is there. And you can always export your private keys to a different application if you want more of the Stellar Lumens functionality. Yeah, the way that our wallet works in general, since we are supporting a lot of currencies, we usually start off with the basic functionality for any given cryptocurrency or blockchain. Then if there's enough, what's the term I'm looking for? If there's enough demand, then we do try to add more functionality as time goes on. But usually if you want full functionality for a specific blockchain, the best place to go is to their own native wallet. So I'm sure Stellar Lumens has probably multiple wallets that you can use there. Let's see here. What else do we got?
Yeah, maybe another question. So some of the questions I've been getting is it safe to spend your BCH or BSV after you split the wallet? And the answer is yes, after you get a confirmation. So once you've done that, it has confirmations, you can spend BCH into another BCH wallet, and it won't affect the other wallet anymore. And the same goes for BSV.
BSV.
Right on. And then we've also been seeing some more questions. I know you guys all want to be able to sell cryptocurrency for cash in the Edge app. We're sorry, we still don't have that. We're working hard on that. But we have some upcoming partners, hopefully real soon, where you can exchange your cryptocurrency for cash into your bank, direct deposit. But otherwise, we suggest checking out Simplex in the time being, or check out the local ATMs in your area, but just watch out for the high fees if you do go with the ATMs.
Yeah. So yeah, we are looking to add Liberty X to the application.
That's another one, right?
That's actually what I'm working on. So I don't have an ETA on that for the time being. We do have a question here on Periscope from Lou Palumbo. He says, "Is Bitcoin going to $1?"
Nah, I don't think so.
Man, let's talk about the price a little bit, shall we? So usually I'm pretty bullish, and in general, in the long term, I'm very bullish about cryptocurrency. But it's no secret that 2018 has been pretty bad. It's been pretty darn bad. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there just haven't been enough real technological developments or advancements during the last year or so. You have a lot of new blockchains coming out trying to take on scalability and a few other issues, but you're not really seeing a huge breakthrough like you were seeing maybe with Ethereum, with the ERC20 tokens, stuff like that. A lot of people are excited about Lightning Network, but it sounds like it's not quite ready for the prime time just yet. So I remember when the price was going up this time last year, it was freaking me out. It was great making more money, for those people who were holding, but there was a part of me that just thought, okay, the price increase is not justified by adoption or technological developments. That's kind of one of the key things that I look at, is when there's not enough actual advancement with the technology, then that you look at that price and you have to think to yourself, that doesn't seem right? The price is outpacing the reality.
Right.
And a lot of people are really excited about it pumping, but if the price is going above what the reality kind of should be, the higher it goes up, the harder it'll snap back is kind of how I look at it. You can there's almost like an analogy, when you have the Federal Reserve printing out money, it causes growth, but then the more growth it causes, the harder it'll snap back in the next recession. So I think there is probably some similarity there. And I remember when it was going up sharply, I was like, I would prefer a slow, gradual, stable increase in price rather than the crazy ups and downs. And I remember some people saying, oh, that's boring, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, one of the big issues now, and we saw the price decrease during the last week or two from, where was it? It was like 4,400 down to almost 3,500, something like that. Right. And in my opinion, when we're using cryptocurrency, okay, a lot of people say it's either a means of exchange, which there are scalability issues there, or it's a store of value. And okay, when it was at 4,400, 4,600, kind of going level for a while, then okay, it's stable enough that maybe merchants will take it, right? They've seen it go up in price before, even though there was a ton of volatility in the first half of this year. But when we saw it go down by, God, what is that? That's like almost 20%, 15, 20% in the span of a week. Then all of a sudden, that store of value sort of feature of cryptocurrency kind of goes away. And that's a really bad thing, because one of the big things that we need in order to really push things forward with cryptocurrency is to have it be accepted by merchants and point of sale. And stable. Unfortunately, no one's really going to want to hold on to or accept a currency that can go down that quickly, that much, in the span of a week.
Right.
So that's one of the use cases now where it's, okay, the use case of store of value has taken a bit of a hit. And that's a bad thing, especially when the price is already down. You have to ask yourself, what is it going to be that is going to stimulate the next, I'm not going to call it a bull run, but next gradual increase in price. And at this point, I'm not really sure what it will be. Right. So there are some, 2018 has been a rough one. And, knock on wood, it's not over yet.
I think some of the important things to look at is the overall growth in the infrastructure. So that's always still growing. You take a look at the number of ATMs, that's still growing. Number of people leaving other companies to join cryptocurrency space, engineers, big heads, what else? Just more adoption. So you got to look at the infrastructure also rather than just the price. And it's still growing pretty fast.
Yeah, no, that's actually one of the good things is, although it seems like a lot of projects have really gotten hit real hard this year, a lot of the proverbial shit coins, I think, you had to know that the price decrease would cause some of them to get washed out. And I've seen a lot of projects that are like, they were really popular not too long ago, like a year ago, and now they seem like they're almost abandoned. But during the recession, I'm not going to call it a recession. During the downswing, because we don't know how long it will last.
During the bear market?
During the bear market, there are lots of teams that are still working hard. I think we're one of them. And just creating a better user experience, adding more technical features to their applications or to their blockchains. And I think a lot of that stuff is going to be what will eventually spur the next bull market, right? But a lot of that stuff happens behind the scenes, so people might not be aware. Not everything's super flashy.
Right, not keeping up with the news. Yeah, then it can be kind of a shock to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was another item of news here, and I feel like we've touched on this before.
Did we touch base on? Let's see, Ohio, first state to take Bitcoin for taxes.
Oh, for taxes.
Yeah, so it's growing. The infrastructure is slowly growing there.
Yeah.
Right.
So it makes you wonder if they get paid Bitcoin, they have to cash it out.
Or do they cash it out?
They probably have to. And you have to wonder if there's going to be a little foul play there at some point. Some of it goes missing. They're not sure who it went to.
Someone has the private key.
Yeah. And you also have to wonder, is it fair for them to be playing favorites about which cryptocurrencies they accept and don't accept?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Maybe some guy, let's say they have a certain altcoin that they hold a lot of, the governor of Iowa or something. Yeah. Next thing you know, he's saying, yeah, we'll accept this coin. And maybe that could cause a little bit of a price increase. There's so much potential for foul play in the space that you always have to wonder what's going on. So did you see that? And this one, I love privacy coins, by the way. So like Monero, Zcash, stuff like that. I love hearing about what they're up to, what's going on with them. You probably heard the news that Zcash has started to be integrated onto Coinbase.
Oh, actually, that's
yeah. So a lot of people were wondering, okay, and then this is one of those things you have to think about philosophically. The government, do they like privacy coins or not? Okay, you can take a guess either way, but then would they be okay with an exchange, a fiat to cryptocurrency exchange like Coinbase adding a privacy coin like Zcash? At first, you're probably thinking, no, probably. Why would they want privacy? They want to be able to look into everything, but the way that it works is that if you have a blockchain that is pretty opaque, right, it's pretty private, one of the best things you can do to actually make things more transparent is to create checkpoints where the transactions maybe aren't so private. And one of the ways to do that, of course, is to do it through an exchange. So something like Coinbase, they already know who you are. If you're using an address, you're sending and receiving with specific addresses, they know you as a person have a relationship with those addresses.
Right.
And also, the way that Zcash works, you can do private transactions. But I believe Coinbase is saying that when you send money out from Coinbase with Zcash, then you have to do it with the non-private method of transaction.
Yeah, so
it's actually tracking. Yeah. So I've obviously been a big Monero fan for a while, and there's a question of would I even want Coinbase to add Monero? And to a certain extent, it'd be great, add it, pump the price up. But on the other hand, anything that you do to diminish some of the privacy on the blockchain, that has consequences, right? That has major effects. Yeah, speaking of Monero, I think we probably talked about it last week or the week before, but we also did an update. So the Monero was not working for a while because they had a hard fork. It is working now, and in fact, your Monero transaction fees should be really small, like a cent.
And a lot faster,
and a lot
too.
faster. And those were probably those were the two biggest issues with Monero.
Yeah, there was a couple of builds back, too.
Yeah, so I'm very happy about that. You might also be noticing that the two latest releases of Edge Wallet are also quite a bit faster. So we got to the point where we have a lot of features. Yeah. We are adding more features as time goes on, but we're more like fine-tuning things. I think we're kind of at that phase of development. And we have some developers on our team who are really good at optimizing things, and they were able to really speed things up. So I'm feeling a lot better about it's
speed. Definitely feeling a lot faster.
Yeah, sure. It is. Especially if you have lots of transactions. If you don't have many transactions, you might not notice the difference. But if you've been using Edge Wallet or Airbits for a long time and you have a lot of transactions in some of your wallets, then you should notice a very significant.
But I think one thing to look forward to is maybe once we get mining mode, because I know we have some miners.
Yeah. So what is mining mode? So I'm not familiar.
Yeah, not too familiar, but so that miners can receive mining transactions into their wallet and maybe clean it up so it can read those transactions without getting, too overworked with getting stuck in processing those transactions.
Yeah.
So we'll have some kind of option for that where the wallet can sync easier based on mining transactions with many of those UTXOs.
Yeah, I was about to say the one thing that does make mining transactions, what's the term I'm looking for, unique is that they don't come in. I don't think they come in from another, from another address, right? Because it's coming from the actual blockchain. It's a Coinbase. It's a reward. It comes from the actual blockchain.
And paid to multiple all the miners, so it could be hundreds, thousands of different output addresses.
Oh, I guess that's true, right? If it's coming from an actual
pool. Or from a pool.
If it's coming from a pool, right. Let's see here. What else do we got?
Anything to look forward to? So it's almost the end of the year. I think we may have one more update.
You mean like one more Q&A?
One more major update to look forward to, and then another one once we hit 2019. We have full of surprises for next year.
You're talking about specifically Edge or
for Edge?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the launch of a specific blockchain that we're going to be mining. I still don't want to talk too much about it on the air, but I think we're going to have some fun with, we're actually going to be experimenting with some mining, and I'm going to be playing around with some mining pool software as well. At this point, I work at a wallet company. I've also messed around with decentralized exchange. That was fun, learned a lot. Now I'll be messing around with mining pools. That'll be fun. after that, I feel like I'm pretty well rounded.
Yeah, you've been everywhere at that point.
I'm trying to think what else. So yeah, I guess I do expect the price to start recovering probably toward the end of the year. You know, the next 6 months or so, I wouldn't really expect too much. How would I say it? Of a price increase. I'm very focused on price, aren't I? But in general, I do think probably toward the end of 2019, we'll start to see more movement upwards. And it'll be really interesting to see whether it's another wild, crazy roller coaster, or if maybe it's a little bit toned down because people have learned certain lessons.
Or maybe a longer bear market, like 2014, 2015. That would be fun.
That would be fun, or that would be
That'd
fine?
Be fun. Fun.
You think bear markets are fun?
Well, maybe we can pick up more coins.
Yeah, that's true. So what are you looking forward to?
For next year, looking forward to more coins to be added for Edge, maybe multi-sig.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely.
Oh, yeah. If we're talking about actual Edge.
Oh, if you're talking about price, well, I'm fine. Bear market, bull market, I'm fine either or.
Yeah, I'm at the point where everything has gone down so much that I have a decent job. Like, I always am looking for new opportunities. So if there's a bit of a bear market for a while, I'm not really too concerned about it. Like, I'm happy where I'm at, right?
Right.
So let's go back. Let's go back to Edge Wallet then. 2019.
What are you looking forward
like
to for 2019?
So obviously the multi-sig is a very big one. Yes, we'll be adding more currencies, but you just noticed there's not as many new currencies coming out. You know, this time last year it was like you had IOTA, you had Nano, you had EOS,
like
you had
week.
Cardano. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now it's like I've only heard of like a few new launches. A couple of them are Mimble-Wimble related, privacy coins. So that's pretty interesting. Obviously, I have my eyes set on the desktop wallet. So I'm really excited about that. We don't have any anything official to say about that other than we are looking to add a desktop component to our platform. And the cool thing, too, is if you happen to have Edge Wallet and you lose your phone, you might be freaking out, even though we have a bunch of your stuff backed up. We pretty much have you covered without too much of an issue. But if you have a desktop wallet, then all you have to do is go onto your desktop wallet and you still have access there. And then if you need to change passwords, stuff like that, you can still do it. Also, if the, what's the term I'm looking for? So people always ask, what happens if our servers go down? It can cause issues, specifically if you happen to lose your phone or something like that.
Right.
But if you lose your phone and you also have the desktop application, then you're kind of double covered, if that makes sense.
Right.
But literally, our office would have to explode. You know what I mean? And our servers would have to go down. There's a lot of catastrophic stuff that would have to happen. And even then, if you happen to have copies of your private keys, which we let you.
You can still access the wallet offline.
Yeah.
As long as you have it installed, logged in at least once, you can always access your account. Even if you have no internet, you can check this out, go in airplane mode, log into your account. So even if Edge doesn't exist, you have the app, no internet, you can still log in, access your account, view your private seed, and use whatever other wallet to restore your funds.
Yeah, let's see here. Okay, so we do have some comments. But,
okay,
so let's go to... I guess you're going down to Chile. You're going down to the Southern Hemisphere, right?
Yeah, next week we'll be out there. So if you're...
What's the actual conference that you guys are going to?
La BitConf, and that'll be...
Latin American
next
Bitcoin
week
conference.
in Santiago.
In Santiago.
Yes.
And then I know we are planning on going to... Was
Also-
it Bitcoin North America, the one in Miami?
Yeah, the one we go to every year. That'll be in January.
Yeah, it's a little ways away. So keep on the lookout. I know we do have a couple significant features that should be coming out soon, including support for EOS. I can't give you an actual timeline on that other than to say that I personally am working on that. So it'll be nice to be able to add that to Edge Wallet. God, what was the other thing that we're adding? We already have the Bitcoin cash split. Okay. Just before we go, someone asked real quick, and I'm going to clarify on this.
Yeah.
You can log in and move your coins offline. Yes. So with our infrastructure on Edge Wallet, we try to make it as what's the term I'm looking for? Try to make it as little dependent upon us as possible. So literally, if our servers if our servers went down, what you would want to do is you would log in with username and password, right?
Full password, not the PIN,
Yeah,
but the
not
full
the PIN,
password
the
or
password,
the fingerprint.
and you'd
Yeah.
be able to get in, and you'd be able to actually look at your private keys. That way, you could move your funds into a different wallet.
Right.
So hopefully that doesn't happen, because if that happens, that means I'm probably dead. I think we're both probably dead or something like that. Okay, so I think that's it for this Friday. We do our Edge Live Q&A every Friday. So if we didn't get to your questions this week, we can get to them next week. Until then, take care of yourselves, and happy holidays.
Have a good one. Take care.